Steve Ratner here.
He's so excited.
He's, of course, former Treasury official and Morning Joe economic analyst. And nothing goes better with your Cheerios, kids, than news about charts showing a massive rise in oil prices, gas prices across America. So, Steve, let's just talk about the problem. Show us the chart on gas prices shooting up. Where are we right now?
Sure. As your correspondent said, gas prices have been going up pretty relentlessly. And in the upper right, you can see some of the numbers, some specific numbers around what he was saying. In California, gas prices are already $6.37 and well above $5 in other places. And you hear anecdotally of people paying as much as $10 a gallon for it. But it's important to note that this is not just because of the war. This is not just because of what your correspondent called pent-up demand, pandemic demand. It is part of a long process that's been going on for a while. And you can see in the chart on the left, if you look at the red line of gas prices, that well before the war started, gas prices had begun climbing very, very substantially and had exceeded the sort of $2.75 or so level that had persisted before the pandemic. And now, of course, they've gone parabolic. And what you can also see to the question of are we being ripped off or not being ripped off, you can see in the light blue line crude oil prices. And crude oil prices track very closely to gasoline prices. So the real source of the gas price inflation is coming from crude oil. As I said, President Biden would like to blame Russia for all this, but it is not all Russia. It is not all the pandemic. It is the fact that we are fundamentally short of oil around the world.
Right, but Steve, explain why we're fundamentally short of oil around the world, because Republicans and editorial pages of conservative newspapers would like to blame Joe Biden, but it's actually the cause of what they love, markets. Markets. The fact is, oil companies didn't want to spend a lot of money exploring during COVID when demand was lower, when prices were lower. It made absolutely no sense. And investors didn't want to pour money into more exploration or more production at that time, right?
That is actually exactly right. That after oil prices went down 4 or 5 years ago, companies cut back. Wall Street put some discipline in place. And so there was a lot less drilling. And you can see that on the next chart, in a sense, where oil prices, global oil production really didn't come back post the pandemic. There's a light turquoise line there. It might be a little bit hard to see, but that's the production line, and it's well below the consumption line all through these last couple of years. People went back to driving, as we know, went back to using oil and gasoline very quickly, and production wasn't able to keep up. Part of it has to do with refinery capacity. There's a lot of reasons, but the fact is that we have been underinvesting in the oil industry for several years, and those chickens are coming home to roost, and we can talk about that also on a worldwide basis.
What I want to talk to you about now is the fact that the United States has been the top oil producing nation since 2013. So here we are 9 years later. Canada, I think, is the fourth. And so if we want to move towards oil independence, how do we do that? Obviously, we can talk about alternative energy sources. We need to do that. But let's say we take Barack Obama's approach, which, as you know, was an all of the above approach. We're going to do wind, we're going to do solar, we're going to do oil exploration, we're going to do nuclear. If we had started doing what Barack Obama was asking for, let's say, 10 years ago, where would we be right now? And where will we be if we can somehow turn the popular will or turn the political will in that direction over the next 5 years? Can we move towards oil independence? Energy
well, actually,
independence?
The United States itself is oil independent. We're actually a net exporter of oil products when you combine refined products and crude oil. And that wasn't necessarily because of any governmental policy. It was simply because oil prices encouraged at a time drilling and production. Where we have fallen short is in things like nuclear, which has become almost a dirty word and should be a major source of power in this country. We're doing reasonably well on wind and solar, but they have their limitations. But energy, in a way, is a worldwide product. Every country imports or exports energy in one form or another from somewhere else. And so we are dependent on the rest of the world doing a good job as well. And when you look at Europe, they've done an appalling job. Germany shut down 14 out of their 17 nuclear reactors. The Netherlands shut down the biggest gas field.
Good God.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Steve, you know, the thing is, people have been predicting this for years. Like, the regulatory process obviously needs to be stringent to build nuclear plants in America. But if you're talking about a powerful energy source without a carbon footprint, if you're talking about getting to where we want to go as a nation, people have been talking about this for well over a decade. And yet, we still aren't moving forward in that direction, and we're paying for it.
Look, we send men and women down in nuclear-powered submarines every day, closer to a nuclear reactor than I am to Jonathan Lemire at this moment, and we deem that to be safe, and it has been safe. We have nuclear carriers out there with 5,000 people on them. We deem that to be safe, and so the idea that we can't build a nuclear reactor on land in a way that is safe is a real failure of our policymakers. There's no question about it. And the problem, Joe, is that there is not that much world oil capacity left out there. And I can show you my last chart if you want and demonstrate to you why. This is why oil prices, gas prices are not going to come down, I don't believe, that quickly, and why President Biden is going to face a tough situation in the fall. And what the chart on the left shows you is that OPEC has been regularly underproducing the amount of oil that they're supposed to produce. Some of that are countries like Angola and Nigeria that simply can't produce it. That bright red bar in the middle is Russia. But Russia's only cut its exports back by a little over 1 million barrels a day. The bar that's sticking up is the 1 billion barrels a day we're taking out of petroleum reserve. So all we've done so far is try to offset most of what we've lost from Russia. If Russia loses another 4 or 5 barrels a day, that will be enormous, because if you look at the chart on the right, what shows you is that the world consumes about 100 million barrels of oil a day, 43 million of them from OPEC. Spare capacity in OPEC, what OPEC could produce tomorrow if it really was so motivated, is a few million barrels a day in Saudi Arabia, in the United Arab Emirates. And it's not even clear they have all that productive capacity. And they